Hello, welcome to the December 2010 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. My name is Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, the nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. This video covers the month of December 2010 and the first 6 months of cash fiscal year 2011, July through December. Net revenue for the month of December was 8.6% above the level of December 2009, and year-to-date net revenue has expanded 3.8%. However, changes in the deposit of gambling tax revenue continue to require adjustment to the monthly and year-to-date revenue growth numbers. To facilitate bonding, the 2010 legislature adjusted the deposit order for programs funded by gambling tax revenue. For fiscal year 2011, instead of the general fund receiving its allotted $66 million in gambling tax in the months of July through October, the general fund is receiving the $66 million in October through February. This table makes the adjustment necessary to get an accurate read on the true revenue growth rate for the month of December. After subtracting $22.8 million from the reported $37.3 million in net revenue growth, the 8.6% growth rate calculates to a real rate of 3.4%. For the first 6 months of the cash year, the headline growth rate for net receipts is positive 3.8%. However, adjusting for $25.4 million in gambling tax revenue that remains to be deposited yields a more accurate year-to-date revenue growth rate of 4.7%. If we look at the adjusted growth shown for each of the months so far this cash year, we see the growth percentage, while still nicely positive, has been declining since September's year-to-date growth reading of 6.4%. On a quarterly basis, we see growth in the first 3 months was $90 million, or $30 million per month, while growth in the following 3 months was $40 million in total, or about $13 million per month. This next chart provides information covering net receipts by month over the most recent 13 months. Revenue increase months are colored blue, decrease months are red. The chart shows net revenue increases in each of the most recent 5 months and 8 of the past 10. Personal income tax revenue is one of the main drivers of Iowa net revenue growth, and gross personal income tax revenue has now been positive for 7 straight months. Iowa's second most important general fund revenue source, sales and use tax, has also shown improvement over recent months, with the past 5 months showing monthly growth as well as 8 of the past 10 months. Gross corporate tax, meaning corporate tax before adjusting for corporate tax refunds, has been a drag on revenue growth over the first 6 months of the fiscal year, with revenue down 4 of the 6 months. The Federal Bureau of Economic Analysis releases quarterly estimates of personal income for each state. Personal income includes income earned through employment, called wage and salary income, as well as personal farm and business income, rent, interest, dividend, and government transfers income. Personal income does not include capital gains or income earned by corporations. For the following information, I focus on the wage and salary component of personal income and compare Iowa's growth experience with the experience of the U.S. This chart depicts the year-over-year growth in wage and salary income computed quarterly for both the U.S. and Iowa. Iowa is in blue and the U.S. is in red. The graph shows that heading into the recession of the early 2000s, Iowa wage and salary income growth significantly lagged the growth rate of the entire U.S., but the experience was considerably different for the most recent recession, with Iowa outperforming the U.S. rate during the recession and after. It is only for the most recent calculation, the third quarter of 2010, that Iowa and the U.S. growth rate merged as both climbed above zero for the first time in more than a year. Ranking the annual growth rate of all states over this time frame yields this chart showing Iowa's rank computed quarterly. For the chart, a rank of 1 is the state with the fastest rate of growth in wage and salary income. For most of the first 10 years depicted, Iowa ranked between 16th and 35th. Heading into and during the recession of the early 2000s, Iowa ranking was at its lowest, reaching 46th at the end of 2000. Iowa recovered and reached a rank of 16 by mid-2004, but then slid down to 40 in 2007. Iowa's high rankings over the past few years have been the result of low and negative growth rates for Iowa being less low and less negative than the nation as a whole. To summarize, after adjustment, December 2010 was a modestly positive net revenue month, but the growth rate for the year has been declining since September. However, at an adjusted growth rate of 4.7%, the year remains above current projections. While Iowa has been experiencing low and negative growth in wage and salary income since the start of the recent recession, just as the rest of the country has, Iowa's experience throughout the period has been much better than the U.S. average. The most recent quarter's data indicate that the Iowa and U.S. growth rates have now equalized, and Iowa's growth rank is now 23rd among the 50 states. I appreciate your interest in Iowa General Fund revenue. Goodbye, have a great 2011, and I hope you check out the next monthly video memo in early February.